There we go. We are live. We're live as we speak right now. Robbie and Chris. Oh, God. That's the look of champions right there.
Who are you talking to, dude?
You seeing dead people?
I thought we're just kind of hanging out. Just you and I.
Oh, no. We're doing more than just hanging out, you and I. We got a live show going on here, buddy. We got a live show, and we're already taking a look right up top there. We're already developing an audience.
Who's that dude right there?
That one right there?
Yeah.
That's Chris.
Who's that guy up that way? There's a lot of people in this video. What's up, everybody?
How you guys doing? This is the last live show of the 31 Vlogs of Halloween. I promised you guys 4. Well, you guys got the 4. Today, tomorrow, and then Halloween. So we got this, we got a vlog, and we've got the last sinful analysis.
Oh, man.
I think it's time. I've been trying to keep it a secret for as many people as I can. If they listen to the Nerdynomicon podcast, they already know it's Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
Michael Doherty. So that one is going live
on
one, Halloween. It's a fucking classic.
It's a really good one.
But today we're actually talking about Halloween. And hey, we're already getting comments. Hi, everybody. So we're going to be talking Halloween.
All these people are distracting me.
Yeah, they're popping up. Yeah, the comments are going to show up right there. This is Chris. Is this your first live YouTube?
No, I'm live.
All right, fair enough. So we're talking Halloween. We're going to start with John Carpenter's 1978 classic, and we're going to go as far as we can.
Oh,
but before we do that,
so good, dude.
Chris,
what's up?
You are a podcaster as well. Tell us a little bit about your show. Show us your credentials for being here. Because as of right now, you've been like Ben Tramer. Okay, we've been talking about you all month. We're like, Chris Chavez, he's around here. Good old Chris.
Yeah.
But
we
don't see him.
Yeah. Good luck finding me, dude. I'm like buried underneath podcasts and wires and knobs and headphones.
Because I was going to actually take you to Hellfest, too. I was going to take you to Hellfest. I even got the stand for my car.
Is it worth it?
Fuck
Go see it? Okay.
Oh my God, it's so much fun.
Right, cool.
It's not a great movie. It's a fun movie.
Oh,
I had so much fun watching it.
Really?
And yes, it was so much fun.
Yeah, no, so I'm Chris Chavez. I run a podcast network, BICVP radio radio.com. It's a bunch of different podcasts on there. I've got a few of my own, Hardly Awesome, Hardly Kayfabe. One of our most popular shows is called History Creeps. Me and a couple of buddies sit around and talk about weird things through history, strange, creepy, things. We talked about Amityville, UFOs, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, dude, that's what we do. We talk podcasts. That's how I met you, was through the podcast thing, and
the circle was complete ever since.
Ever since.
We're basically hetero life mates.
It's like
point.
the circle.
I'd never see each
It's
other.
like the circle of life, dude.
Oh,
you're gonna have to like lift me up in front of all the people in YouTube. YouTube is here.
I'm pretty sure I just offended a fuckload of people because I'm pretty sure that's an actual language to speak.
And you're probably saying you're cursing at them.
Yes,
you're messing up the dialogue.
I'm waving my genitals at your camel or something.
Basically. Jeez. Oh man. Wait, what are we doing here?
We're talking Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah. So what we need to tell you guys before we get into this is that if you out there are not blonding your hair in remembrance of the fallen Ben Tramer, then you are Halloweening wrong. On the other hand, once we get to it, if you're watching Halloween Resurrection, you've also Halloweened wrong. So you'll have that.
Oh, man.
Busta Rhymes.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Okay.
Before we get into that,
the idea was cool.
The idea was good.
Live webcams. You know what I mean?
We'll get to that one. But the reason I even brought that up is
that's the one with the dude with the little camera on his ear.
Yes. Yeah.
And it looks like a literal security camera, but on his ear.
Yep. That's the one. The reason I'm throwing that out there is because I've got to show some love to Anthony from Irrational Fears. He was on my Dead Silence episode. So much love, Anthony. And MJ Orrs, the horror writer. It's tradition that I work with both of those guys during Halloween. I only got to work with one of them, and I miss MJ so much. But the reason that it doesn't break my heart as much is because now I think it's the perfect time to shout out the fact that we are doing a new podcast as well. Nerdynomicon is still happening. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. But Dad's a Pops Cast, starring myself, Michael Orzechowski, and Anthony Luciano, is going to be debuting next month. The only reason it's not this month is because I think I've slept like a total of 24 hours through almost 31 days.
That's what you get for promising this shit, dude. Seriously.
Like, what I need to do is go to fucking Iowa and just, like, sleep. Because there's nothing in Iowa. It's like flat farmland.
Get yourself a bunker.
That's right. So what I need to do is I need to go to Iowa and just, like, curl up in a coma.
You're good to go.
Fucking A right, man.
All right, man.
So much love to those guys. New podcast coming out next month. I think that's it. Let's jump into this.
Let's do it, man.
Halloween, 1978, John Carpenter movie. This movie kicked off the slasher genre. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there were slashers before it. There have been plenty of slashers after it, but this was the definitive slasher movie.
Yeah.
In so many ways. The filmography was amazing. The score was amazing. The acting was amazing. It gave us wasn't that the introduction of not Laurie Strode, the actress, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Wasn't that her debut film?
Yep. First film.
So why don't we start out with initial viewings? When did you see this movie for the first time?
Oh my god, dude.
Because I can tell you exactly when I saw mine.
Holy crap, dude. I was a youngster, that's for sure. I was pretty young. I remember maybe 8 or 9.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
So you got me beat by a couple of years.
Well, I remember back in the day, you'd have cable on a cable box and stuff, but you'd get these things where like maybe once or twice a year where HBO and Cinemax would give you a free week preview. So we had cable in our bedroom because my dad hooked up the splitter. Do you know what I mean? Like the illegal cable. So we had cable in our, you know, the good stuff. It's good when
that
it's
yum
free.
yum.
Exactly. Get a little taste. That's what they do.
You're watching the scrambled. You're like, I think that's a nipple. What? It wasn't a nipple. Was it?
But so you get the splitter, and once or twice a year you get this free. And one time it was in the fall. It was like around Halloween time,
right?
And we got free HBO, free Cinemax. And so I remember just being up late one night. That was the first time I saw Silence of the Lambs. Was that way on the free like weekend for Cinemax and HBO, and that's when I saw Halloween. And I just remember just being kind of like, it was creepy. I wasn't completely terrified, but it was creepy. But I don't know. There was something about it that enamored me. It was Halloween. It was the neighborhood. It looked like the all-America, every neighborhood that you thought you wanted to grow up on when you were a kid, like
Haddonfield, Illinois.
When you were a kid and you were like, oh man, like life here sucks, or my parents suck, or this sucks. This is what life should be like. Right. It was that neighborhood. It was those streets, right? Exactly. It was those people. Like, oh, so and so knows the sheriff, and they know, you know, the guy that owns the hardware store down the road. Right. It was, my best friend's dad's the sheriff, and you know, he's just got a snarky look on his face. He's not gonna bust me for smoking doobies. Exactly. Right. But I remember just getting just this feeling of like, I loved the setting, and it wasn't until later that I really got to appreciate like the cinematography, lighting, things like that. But the fact that there's always something else in that shot. Yeah, but I just remember just being like loving that town. And I've always loved creepy stuff, scary stuff, even when I was, real young. Again, I was 10 years old when I read the Amityville Horror. Jesus! Yeah, my mom told me not to, so of course I had to get naturally. I mean, that's the death nail right there. But she was just like, you can't read it till you're older. I'm like, till I'm older? So you're not saying just don't read it. You're saying wait till I'm older. So chronologically speaking, I'm going to be that much older tomorrow, Mom. Exactly. So you dug your own grave. So you go to the library. So I remember watching this and just being like, man, I like this. I love this creepy town. I love this Halloween. And then the score, dude. The score gets you. Yep. Immediately. Yep. I mean, to this day, PJ Souls, basically John Carpenter says it all the time. I mean, he's most famous probably not even for the movie, but for that soundtrack. That din 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 din. And the beauty part is with the tones that he uses, that melody never resolves. It is ongoing. Right. It's like a Mobius strip. It never resolves. That in itself, that music is enough to make anything unsettling. And back when this movie hit theaters,
people used to cover their ears as opposed to covering their eyes because they couldn't deal with the tones that
There's
were being
a tension
used.
that it builds that
Yes.
doesn't release. There's just like,
Yes.
oh, you can't deal with it. It's almost like some people have that reaction to the nails on chalkboard.
Like that, yeah.
You get that feeling when it's coming and you're like, oh God, is it gonna stop?
Right.
As a kid, I was just like, this is creepy. I like the way it sounds. And I remember
Same here.
as a kid, I remember going by like a piano in my grandma's house or something and really trying to figure out the thing. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So what this movie is about, and this is the one that started it all for Michael Myers and really started most of it for slasher movies in general, is a child, 6 years old, stabs his sister with a chef's knife, not a butcher knife. Let's be technical here. And gets locked up for 16, 17, 18 years.
Yeah, right. He's
something like that.
What is he, like 20 something when he gets out?
Something to that effect,
Yeah.
So
24, I think.
Right.
No.
So he escapes from the mental institution and begins stalking a group of babysitters wearing a white mask.
Right.
Strangely modeled after William Shatner. That is a William Shatner mask that they bleached the shit out.
It almost feels like it used to be one of those things where, hey, you want to hear some cool trivia? But now it feels like everyone knows that.
Right.
Everyone knows that that was the William Shatner mask. It's a famous story where they sent one of the production people out to grab a bunch of masks to choose from, and one of which was the Shatner mask. And they just cut the eye holes slightly larger, bleached spray painted it white, and got the hair all frizzied, and they were like, that's the one to use. Right?
Exactly. And the beauty part is what they did with that mask. And frankly, I guess this could be said about William Shatner's face in general. It's so nondescript.
Formless. That was the point. Yeah.
Precisely. As a matter of fact, you said formless. The name of Michael Myers in the credits is The Shape.
Right.
And he's meant to represent the boogeyman. As a matter of fact, there's allusions to boogeyman all over the place. And we're not just talking about a song from Casey and the Sunshine Band here either. Oh no. We're talking about the actual boogeyman right out of ancient lore.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's lore about the boogeyman, the
creature
boogeyman
under the bed for the longest. Every kid was afraid of the monster under the bed.
I mean,
the boogeyman.
And the boogeyman in different terminology goes back as far as Samhain as well. You know what I mean? It goes back millennia to the Druids and the Celts.
Nice.
Yeah. In certain languages and certain phraseology. Previously bogeyman, before that something else, but yeah, it goes back a long way.
Think you were gonna get a history lesson, did you?
That's how we roll here. We got history buffs, we got Nerdynomicon. We're here to educate you guys on your horror, man.
We teach you shit.
Absolutely. Dropping the mic. Not that mic though. I don't own that mic.
So we're done. No.
So Michael Myers, aka The Shape, stalks these babysitters, kills several of them. I mean, it's kind of funny that the best money shot in the movie is with the knife.
Yeah, true.
I still love it how Michael Myers shows up in a ghost outfit. She's like, "Where's my beer?"
Yeah.
I thought you said spirits, baby.
That's the funny thing. In this first one, Michael Myers is not what he becomes after 2 forward. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even related to Laurie in this one.
No, he's not.
He goes out of his way to be, like, literally put on, like, come on. Like, why wouldn't he just go there, stand in the doorway, make her freak out because he sees her? You know, it's not like he's putting a sheet on when he's chasing Laurie through the house.
Precisely.
But the point is he went out of his way to, like, make her think this is me.
He put the glasses on. He put the damn glasses on.
Right? Exactly. Whose idea was that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who thought, like, the killer should do this?
Exactly. And you know what? It also goes to prove Michael Myers does not need to be as big as a house.
No.
He's like your size or mine.
Yeah, he's not the behemoth that is Jason. Like, Jason's not behemoth, but like he's a force. He's a force. Like, there's this thing that you're not stopping it, you know? Precisely.
He's a force of nature, ultimately. Michael Myers is as well, but not to that level. You know, Michael Myers could be equated to like the ocean or something like that, the rising tides. You know, it's just going to smack you. Michael Myers, or I'm sorry, I meant Jason. If I was to say
I get you.
But Michael Myers is not. He is that thing that you can't quite make out. He is the everyman. He is the formless void, and he is coming for you. He doesn't need to be a massive behemoth. It's scarier to me when he's the everyman. You take that mask off, he blends in at the mall.
And the whole point to this whole film, like in the first one, is he is the shape, the shadow. He bleeds in and out. Like, you'll see, what was her name? I forget, where she's waiting for Paul to come over. And so she's trying to do laundry.
Oh yeah,
So
her
she's
friend.
talking on her phone, and so like she walks this way, and you see him standing in the doorway. She walks this way, comes back. It's literally within a second, and he's gone.
Exactly.
And it's not about him being paranormal and disappearing. It's the fact that he just back into the shadows.
Precisely. She's on the phone with Paul. She calls Lori and tries to bribe her with a date with Ben Tramer.
Exactly.
Ben fucking Tramer. Seriously, and that was like the 8th time he was brought up in that fucking movie.
Right, and never. Yeah, it's definitely a difference from something like Jason, where again, it's about just the force of coming at you nonstop.
Right.
I've always liked the nuance of Michael Myers. The fact, Freddy enjoyed toying with you, and
he was a man who enjoyed his work.
Exactly, joking around. Later on, he became a jokester, but he enjoyed it in the first one. Just the carnage of it. He lived on that fear.
I've never seen a killer take such pleasure in slicing his own fingers off. And
Robert
Englund's look on his face
like, ha 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 ha.
Look at what I did, Bobby!
Exactly.
The green blood.
Exactly. But
so
Michael Myers is mostly about that until this one moment with the sheet on his head.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, okay.
Sure. Fair enough.
We'll go with that.
But that's just it. When she takes it off, I mean, she's convinced that that's her boyfriend. She shimmies the sheet down, see anything you like? And even I'm sitting there, yes, I do. But when he's strangling her with the phone cord.
Yeah.
And then as she's struggling, the sheet comes off, and there's Michael Myers. It was weird that he was in the sheet, sure, but when it came off, to me, that was terrifying. Because you see the mask is still under the sheet. There's still no face
that sheet. That was the other weird thing, I guess. It was like, what was he hiding? Was it the mask he was hiding? Because normally he's wearing the mask to hide his face, so you don't see who he is, to strike the fear.
Right.
And I guess you're right. Yeah, the sheet is more along the lines of making you familiar, getting safe. Let me get this close to you, and then you find out, ta-da!
Yep. The destruction of safety, the destruction of innocence.
Good call.
And to me, that's what that movie was symbolic of, was the destruction of the innocence of youth.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see that. That's cool. I never would have seen that. I always, I would look at the scene and be like,
why is he wearing a sheet? Why are you wearing a sheet, Mikey?
This is just so...
What are you doing?
Why would he do this? He wouldn't do this. He would literally just show up in the doorway, and she'd freak out, and he'd just come in and stab the shit out of her.
And then that iconic shot at the end, when... After Laurie's battling him, after one of the most memorable scenes in all of horror history, the closet scene. When he breaks through the door and you see the mask turn and look.
Dude, anytime you see any kind of like montage of horror films that have like the greatest scenes, that's one of them. That's right up there with the Here's Johnny scene.
Yes.
That's right up there with Jaws. You know, when you see the it's super iconic.
And to me, it's even more powerful than any of those just because of the line that Donald Pleasance so expertly delivers in this movie. When he's talking about this little boy, not the monster that is Michael Myers as an adult and as the escaped mental patient, but as a little boy, how he met this child with the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And then when he breaks through that closet and you see him turn and he looks directly at the camera, which is meant to be Laurie at that point, but also Laurie being a surrogate for us. And he looks right at her. There is nothing.
Right.
Those giant eye holes are pitch black.
Yep.
It's the devil's eyes staring back at you, the boogeyman, if you will.
Yeah.
And then when Donald Pleasance shoots him right off the roof, and you see him sprawled there, she turns back. Was that the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, it was. Donald Pleasance looks back. He's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I thought that this fact was more well-known than it is, but it turns out, apparently, I was wrong about that. Halloween was not meant to be a saga of Michael Myers initially. It was meant to be an anthology series, hence Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's what the intent was.
Oh, interesting.
However, with the massive success that was Halloween 1, Halloween 2 was rushed directly into production. John Carpenter, this was his baby. So he went along for the ride, despite the fact he had no intention of continuing on with the Michael Myers storyline. That was supposed to be the conclusion. That the boogeyman is still out there. That heavy breathing right there at the end. through the mask. And you're seeing all these different houses that, yeah, he made appearances at throughout the house. But it's meant to represent that any of these houses could be your house. Because the boogeyman is still there.
Oh,
he's not gone.
So creepy.
Right?
So creepy.
That's what that ending was meant to symbolize.
And how good. Like that would have just been like stratospherically iconic making that film. That, you know, if you leave it at that, leave it there. Man.
But then we got Halloween 2. Carnage Candy, okay? Laurie's now in the hospital after her encounter with Michael Myers, like you do. There's candy stripers all over the place. I guess nurses and ambulance drivers have rumps in the on-call room.
Basically.
I mean, they do in Grey's Anatomy. Why can't they in my horror movie? You know what I mean?
Right.
Donald Pleasance is hunting Michael Myers down as he's just slaughtering left and right. He mispronounces Samhain by calling it Samhain, but then again, everybody does. I'm like, God damn it! God damn it! But ultimately, this movie is the most memorable to me for two main reasons. The first is, I saw the original Halloween a year before I saw the second one, and I saw it on Halloween night at my grandpa's house, because my grandpa was huge into horror movies. So you said you were about 8 or so?
Yeah, about 8 or 9, I think.
I think I was 9, because Scream came out in 2010, right? Or not 2010, 1995. 2010?
I was just going to say.
I was way off! 1995 is when Scream dropped, right? If memory serves.
Was it mid-90s? Look at me get
Give or take.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna fact check me.
Fact check you.
So I saw the original Halloween a year before I saw number 2. Number 2 I saw because, and I think I said this in one of my previous videos.
1996.
1996. Okay, so I saw this movie when I was 10 years old. I saw Halloween when I was 10. I saw Scream when I was 11.
Okay.
Or Halloween Part 2 when Scream was being amped up when I was 11 years old. And I remember that it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I remember Michael being shot through the eyes and the blood coming down.
Yeah.
So I remember it just from my own nostalgia. And I remember it as a part of Scream and why I love Scream so much. It's kind of funny how all of your memories tie together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because during the commercial breaks, they'd have small interviews with, like, Neve Campbell, who I met once and is a wonderful, lovely woman. Wes Craven was in one of the interviews, and you got to see all these clips from the movie, and it looked amazing. So in my head, when I think of Scream, it ties back to Halloween 2. So Michael Myers is in my consciousness with all of my favorite slashers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, because you heard about Ben Tramer all throughout number 1. They're talking about dating in the car. You could go out with this guy. I'd rather go out with Ben Tramer. Ben Tramer? It's pathetic. I can do the lines perfectly. But until you see Ben Tramer, and he doesn't get slaughtered by Michael Myers, he gets run over. You see him on screen for 15 seconds.
Good Lord.
It's Michael Myers' mask with blonde hair, and you see him get run into a vehicle, and I believe it explodes.
I'm calling it right now. I'm getting a t-shirt made. Remember Ben Tramer.
Make me one too.
We're wearing them.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. We'll start out a GoFundMe.
There you go.
Okay. So, and then you find out who it is later on in the movie by one of his buddies saying, "Have you guys seen Ben Tramer? He was going around in this mask and nobody's seen him." They all kind of share a look. How unceremonious! You killed Ben Tramer.
He was so important to the first, like the whole theme of the first film.
Precisely.
And then that's it.
Because he was apparently the boy next door.
That dude deserves so much more.
He did.
Dude, if you only knew some of the things he accomplished in life, like that's a movie unto its own. Absolutely.
You know, we should write the saga of Ben Tramer. I've made so many comments about movies we should write.
What's that movie with Ben Stiller? Like he's got that fantastic.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty or something.
There you go, Secret Life of Ben Tramer.
Dude, I'm so in for this. Produced by John Carpenter. I'm annoyingly tenacious. Okay,
Make him do it.
I'm just gonna get his phone number. Hey, Johnny boy. Hey, you want to talk about Ben Tramer? We need to talk about Ben Tramer.
He's like, wait, why do I know that guy?
3 years later, he finally signs on just to shut me the fuck up. We'll do it in mockumentary style.
There you
like
go.
found footage.
There you go.
All right?
Oh,
And it ends with Ben Tramer unceremoniously dying.
That'll be amazing.
But Halloween 2 is supposed to kill it off. Michael gets shot right through the eyes, and then giant explosion. He's burned up. Loomis is burned up.
No coming back.
Exactly.
Don't pretend.
So then we go on to Season of the Witch, which was a flop.
Because people were like, hey, where's Michael Myers?
Exactly. I'm not watching a Michael Myers movie. I'm not watching a Halloween movie without Michael Myers. That's like watching a Friday the 13th movie without Jason.
Well, I remember being a kid seeing the third one going, where's Michael Myers?
Right. Like I said, it's like watching a Friday the 13th movie about Jason. And Jason's been the killer since the very beginning. No.
Or
he hasn't. No, he hasn't. Sequel. Which I learned initially from Scream.
There you go.
So it all comes together.
All comes together. There you
go. But ironically, 3 is probably the best sequel. Realistically.
Nice. If you follow what it was supposed to do.
Right. I mean, even if you look at it as just a movie, like strip away the name, strip away the connotation that Halloween has, just look at it as a singular movie. Ironically, it's the best sequel in the franchise.
I would have to go back and watch it now as an adult. I haven't watched it in forever. Because of being that disappointed with it, that it was always one of those things where you're just like, fucking Season of the Witch, are you kidding? What a joke. So I never went back to it. I should give it a shot and see what I think now as an adult.
I totally recommend you do that.
Be interesting to think.
Absolutely. So you get three flops, then you get 4. The movie that made probably the second most, not including the original, as far as box office returns.
This was The Return of Michael Myers.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I watched it this month.
I haven't seen that one in a while, man. It's been a while since I saw that one.
Oh my god. It still has a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm always going to have a place for this movie in my heart.
Yeah, but...
Oh my god.
It's bad.
Oh my god. Dude, why does Michael Myers' mask have like slicked back hair? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
it's like on point. His hair is on fleek.
That's right.
I don't know why I said it like a Frenchman, but it did.
That's right.
So that movie happens.
And I remember starting to think at that time, and I didn't know about like the rights to the images and all that stuff. I used to think, what's wrong with his mask? Why does it look different? You know what I mean? Because as you watch, they do change.
Yes,
and I didn't realize it had to do with the rights to specific likenesses. But yeah, I remember just noticing that. I remember the hair now. When you say that, oh yeah.
Oh, his hair was on point. I mean, he got the mask brand new again, but still.
Yeah.
So Michael Myers is back. He's all burnt to a crisp, as evidenced by his hand.
So
Loomis is all burned up here.
Did you ever wonder where he's getting these masks?
Well, in this one, you see him take it.
Okay.
You see him in the store take it. What I don't understand is he's in this store where Jamie Lloyd, his niece, mind you, Laurie Strode's daughter, and Laurie has died in a car accident. I would like to say that precisely. I would like to say that it is the love child of Laurie Strode and Ben Tramer. Okay? Because they had a tryst.
Right before.
Right before.
They had literally the night before.
They
he
had
lost
a
his
secret
virginity.
romance. You know, Haddonfield, Illinois. It's not that far from Iowa, so they went to Iowa. They had a secret romance. You know, maybe in the bleachers behind the old stadium or something like that.
You know what happens if you lose your virginity in a horror movie? You
die. Yeah, Scream has taught us, and this is back in the rules days.
Yes, exactly.
Before everything became meta.
Before they started breaking them all.
Exactly. So I like to think that Jamie Lloyd is the love child of Laurie Strode and Ben Tramer.
That's amazing.
Right?
I like that.
So you see Jamie's shopping for a costume, and weirdly she picks the same one that Michael wore like over 25 years earlier. Obviously. Because they still make that one.
Obviously.
I can't find a ghost face mask that's actually made of rubber without the fake blood pulsing through it.
Oh, that's the worst, dude.
Right?
When I see that,
I just want that mask, not a plastic one. I'm just like, the mask.
Which movie is that from? What's that?
It says 4 on it, but I clearly remember that one being out when Scream 3 was there.
Nonsense.
It's just, let's rebrand it. But yet they still have the William Shatner mask, although with better hair now, because I guess they have to keep up with Shatner's comb over.
Bill was like, look, If you're gonna keep using my likeness, at least make the hair better, okay?
And if you're gonna do
Use
that,
my
at least do the
token.
shagger better. Look, if you're going to continue using my likeness. So you got that, and you got the clown outfit. Why did nobody see this hulking? Because this is when Michael Myers started to get giant too.
Yeah.
Why did nobody see this giant Hulk burnt to a crisp walking into the store and grabbing a mask? Okay, that's one. Two, little known fact: one of the people at that little stand in the store doesn't have a line, and nobody refers to him. However, in the script and in the credits, he's named as Tommy Doyle.
Get out, dude.
Kid you not.
Really?
And in the car, they're talking, "Hey, Jamie, do you remember my friend Lindsay?" It's Lindsay, the little girl from across the street.
Out. No.
That's who they're supposed to be. It's pretty awesome when you know it.
Yeah.
However,
Unless you're hardcore and didn't catch that, like you're not noticing that.
And this is just such a bad movie. The acting is not great. The script has great ideas, but poor execution. Michael Myers' hair is blonded in 2 scenes right there at the very end, which I believe is his own little homage to the fallen Ben Tramer in film. But there's just so much wrong with it. I mean, even Rachel, Jamie Lloyd's older sister, her boyfriend Brady, he's freaking out over her having to babysit. It's almost like, why do they say his name so much? It's almost like, one of the kids from the Brady Bunch was a producer on the movie.
Oh, God.
And that's absolutely true.
Get out.
One of the producers in that movie was one of the kids from the Brady Bunch.
The more you know. Get out.
So that kicked off the saga of Thorn. Then we get 5. At the end of 4, Michael Myers supposedly dies by being shot to death by a bunch of hillbillies. Because I guess when the NRA goes, they go hard. Okay? At 5, you see that supposedly they also threw dynamite down this well that Michael Myers fell into. But he crawled out in time.
Obviously.
The explosion goes through. He floats down the river like driftwood and gets picked up by a drifter who has a little shack built into the river. Where he sleeps for a year.
Wouldn't you, dude? After all that shit, I'd be taking a nap. I'd be tired.
31 Vlogs of Halloween, I'm planning on taking a fucking epic-ass nap, okay? Homeboy was shot, nearly blown up, stabbed multiple times, beaten with rifles. I mean, I don't care. He needs medical attention at some point. And what is this drifter doing, just letting this guy sleep on his couch for a fucking year?
And he looks like him.
Yes.
Like, are you serious right now? Good Lord. And let me ask you something. In what world do we live in where this guy's been going around just killing people, mass murdering? You know that they've got him on the news. They've got what he looks like. So this guy is a drifter or not. Even so, you're a drifter. You should know what's happening. Like, you should hear the news everywhere.
Exactly.
You don't see this what this guy looks like.
No, don't get me wrong. I get being a good Samaritan and all. However, a year? A fucking year?
Like, do you not think to yourself after the second day, like, hey, he hasn't woken up. Is that normal?
Exactly. Now
2 months in, still hasn't woken up. Man, he's got neighbors coming over like 5 months in. He's like, hey, Gerald, fuck's that guy still doing here? Man?
Right. Now, people could make the argument, oh, it's obvious he didn't sleep there for a year. He had to get up, he had to eat, he had to go to the bathroom, evacuate his bowels. I mean, he obviously kept on living. Really? Show me that movie. I want to see that movie.
What's he doing?
That's kind of like me wanting to, for whatever reason, see Jack Bauer go pee during 24.
A Day in the Life of Michael Myers.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
Show me that movie.
He's getting up to brush his teeth. He's like, hey, Gerald, where'd you put the floss? Fucking popcorn from last night still stuck in my tooth.
Because that's just it. You'd only see him eating dogs in the movie. It's like, give Michael Myers some fucking pizza. How did you get to be the size of a house, bitch? You only eat dog.
Oh, man. I guess this is why they decided to scrap everything and go from the beginning.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This movie really entered in the idea of the Cult of Thorn because you see the mark on his wrist right here.
I was never
liked
a fan of that part, though. See, I
You
never
weren't?
wasn't a fan of the cult thing. No, I liked that this was something that had no explanation. That makes it scarier.
I agree
When
with
you go straight
agree.
in with there's cults involved or this, then it's like, okay, now there's much. You know what I mean? But when it's like,
I gotcha.
a lot of the scariest things are like, it's just like he says, the Scream. You know, when there's no motive, that's the scariest.
I agree
You know
with
what I
you.
mean?
I agree.
So yeah, man.
So you got 5. It's got the biggest body count ever.
Yeah.
And here's what they did well. This is something that I found really interesting. Our nearly survivor girl, with the exception of Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
is the best friend that's introduced randomly as a one-off. Because
You
Rachel
have to
bites
have
it
those
early.
things. You have to.
Right, you do. Rachel bites it early. And also the mask is back. The good-looking mask is back. Rachel bites it early, and you're introduced to Tina, who's just a weirdo, but I love her, I guess. So Tina shows up, and she's almost Survivor Girl. She makes it right to the end of the third act,
Right.
which I found very interesting. A one-off character like that makes it that far in a horror movie.
Right.
That doesn't happen often. Usually the annoying best friend dies pretty early on.
You need expendable characters. And
Right.
that's the one.
Rose McGowan was not annoying in Scream, and she died.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
know?
I remember one of the biggest shocking things about Scream, not that this is a Scream show, but
Right.
was when Drew Barrymore got killed off. Because I remember when
She was the biggest name.
we saw the trailers, she was the biggest name. But you saw the trailers, you assumed she was in the film.
Well,
So
she's
when
front and center. She's right up on Front
when she
Street.
gets
on the
blasted
box.
first thing, you were just like, wait, she's not really dead, is she? And then they're like, did you hear about Casey Becker? I was
Oh,
like,
she
whoa, she died.
DED did.
That's for real? What kind of movie is this? Like, what?
Ghostface, 3 points from downtown. Count it, it's good. So 5 happened to us, which
Yeah.
also introduces the Man in Black,
Mhm.
who really has absolutely no point up
Nope.
until the end,
Mhm.
where Michael Myers, and this is a weird thing, Michael Myers is arrested. And he's sitting there in ankle irons with his hands handcuffed,
That's right.
just going clink, clink, clink. Man in Black shows up, blows the place up in like record time with the precision of like fucking Deadpool.
Obviously.
Somehow blows up the cell block and they disappear out the back. Jamie's in there going, no. And the movie ends.
Well, you know who he was, right? The Man in Black.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Ben Traver.
That's what I was gonna say, dude.
He came back for vengeance because he needed it. So you find out who the actual Man in Black is in the next installment,
Mm-hmm.
which is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. There is so much to say about this movie that I don't have the time to get into tonight.
It's intense.
There's
a lot.
I did not have enough time to get into it on my own review of it this month because I did do a full episode on The Curse of Michael Myers. There's too much to get into it tonight because we're basically just going through the sequels and going through the continuity.
Yeah.
However, if you can find the original script, which is still floating around out there, I have not read it since I was around 14 years old. If you can find it, it's probably better than the original movie.
Whoa.
The first script.
Whoa.
John Carpenter was coming back. He signed the rights. He was coming back to produce and in talks to direct. He was working very, very close with Mustafa Akkad on making this movie. The network executives said that this is the scariest script that they have read in years. So scary that it was giving them nightmares. So obviously it needed a rewrite. And then a rewrite. And then a rewrite. And then a rewrite. And then they made the movie. And then it tested poorly with 14-year-old boys.
So the original is floating around.
The original script.
Joe Blow scripts or something?
No, the original screenwriter is the one that is credited with writing the screenplay that is in the movie right now. However, it is a shadow of what he originally had. And it did involve the Curse of Thorns storyline. What it was going to do is actually pick up with the novelization of Halloween, which was in the very beginning of the movie. It was going to flash back to ancient druidic times and show the cult back then. It was going to use the through line,
Mhm.
but it was going to tie everything together. So you still have the cult,
Yeah.
but they were going to take it in a much different direction than Michael Myers knocking up his niece.
Interesting, dude. Yeah. I was never a fan of the whole cult aspect, man. I could see why
I get it.
These parts of it was like, okay, yeah, I'm totally fine with them wiping a lot of this stuff away.
And that's exactly what they did. I mean, with
But
the
then-
theatrical version, the theatrical version made next to no sense. Although weirdly, I enjoyed it. And again, there's something to be said for nostalgia.
Don't they rewrite it again later, though? Don't they say that the curse thing isn't a real, like the whole thing isn't a thing later?
The Curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. As a
That's
matter
what
of
I
fact,
thought.
this is the end of the Curse movies.
That's right. I thought.
And there was a sequel planned, a possibility of 2 sequels. And those scripts were
Turned
translated
into the comics.
to the comic books, which I have right here.
Boom.
These were released by Chaos Comics. We've got Halloween. We got Halloween 2, The Blackest Eyes.
The blackest eyes.
And Halloween 3, The Devil's Eyes.
The devil's eyes.
Now, what the third edition of that did was it tried to tie together the Curse of Thorns storyline and resolve it with H2O. Because they put so much work and focus into these 3 movies, 4, 5, and 6,
Mhm.
which all of them had their moments and they have their merit and they're fun movies, even if they're bad. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, take them for what they are.
Exactly.
I mean,
they're not the fucking gospel.
Yeah.
They're not number 1.
yeah.
And very few movies will ever be Halloween 1 ever again. But they are fun. And even though 4 is 20 times worse than I remember it, I'm always going to have a soft spot in my heart for it.
Yeah.
Always. So the sequels were scrapped because Halloween 6 made none of the money.
Nothing, yeah.
Well, considering they couldn't get the fucking name right, it started out as Halloween 666, then Halloween 6, The Origin of Michael Myers, then finally Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. They couldn't get a fucking title right. I mean, damn, dude.
Yeah, it was doomed.
It was. So the series was rebooted with Halloween H2O, which abolishes Halloween 4 through 6.
Yep.
Jamie Lloyd does not exist in this, despite
Right.
the fact that I like these movies so much. In my head, I tried to find a through line or a parallel. You know, instead of having an abortion, she just faked her own death and then gave her child up for adoption. And I'm not sure which one's worse. You couldn't just put her up for adoption. You had to fake your own death.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Talk about insult to injury.
No kidding.
Especially since Jamie had pictures of her mom. She knows who her mom is. Can you imagine that awkward moment? That awkward moment she goes into a Ralph's. It's like, Mommy? Actually, I faked my death, but
Yeah, right.
so they stripped away 4 through 6, and obviously the comic books. That storyline is done. The cult no longer exists.
Right.
So it goes Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O,
Yeah.
in which Michael Myers returns.
Right.
This movie is known for its jump scares and LL Cool J,
Yeah.
basically.
And Josh Hartnett's amazing hair.
It was on point.
Do you remember?
I remember that.
His little wings.
I
hanging off
remember
the side.
that.
It's like, you ready to film? Give me 1 second.
All right, I'm ready.
Ready to go.
Now, this is back in the Kevin Williamson days. Screenwriter
Yeah.
of Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Screenwriter of this, if memory serves. I believe he had a hand in The Faculty
Yeah.
and also the
Yeah,
showrunner
Faculty.
of Dawson's Creek.
Yep.
So this is back when Kevin... Didn't he also have something to do with... I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Yep. Wrote that one as well.
Homeboy does not need to work again.
He knew what he was doing. Yeah.
He's
Once-
making it rain in the horror world,
I mean,
all right?
he was doing well with Dawson's Creek, and he knew what he was doing when it came to that kind of writing.
Right.
But Scream was it. That was his moneymaker. That was his way of saying, I know how kids talk. And every time I watch these 80s horror films, it annoys me because they're not that dumb. They're
Right.
really not. And as a matter of fact, if they knew about killers, they'd be a little like they would know the rules. And so then you have history made there. So when H2O comes around, it's in that world now where these
Yes.
kids are smarter. Like it's not so easy. Well, it is. They still run up the stairs when they should go out the front door.
And there's still jump scares everywhere.
The dumb waiter, remember that shit?
I do.
But it was great with jump scares. I remember H2O also had Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
Yes, it did. She played the secretary.
Yes, she does.
And she brings back one of the most iconic lines. It's Halloween. I guess we all deserve a good stare. I've had my share. Thanks.
Yeah. And if you listen closely when she's talking to her, when they're having that conversation, you can hear in the background the Psycho.
Yes, you can.
I like to call it the Psycho Suite, but you can hear that playing in the background.
Yep.
It's so sweet.
That's absolute great fucking poll. I wasn't even going to say that. Excellent.
Love it.
Excellent poll. This movie also kind of screwed things up for me a little bit because there's an up close shot of Michael Myers' eye. And I prefer, and I spent a lot of time talking about it, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. But in this, you see this giant wide eye and you hear him breathing, which always led me to wonder, what do you think he's looking like underneath the mask? Do you think he's making faces at them when he kills them? Do you think he's like wide-eyed maniacal, like, or do you think he's like making faces like
he's duck facing it?
He's duck facing. Doesn't that just take out a whole new shade for Halloween? Michael Myers is duck facing.
Next time you guarantee whoever's watching this, next time you watch that movie, you're gonna be thinking, what's he looking like under there right now?
If they pop the mask up, he's just gonna be like, selfie.
He's like, oh face. Oh.
I fucking love it, man.
You know what I mean?
So that movie happens, and it's supposed to be the definitive movie where they kill him by chopping off his head.
She takes his head off, and she does it. Finished. That's why she came back. She only did it because this would be the end, and she would have to kill him and be done.
Yep.
So they're done. It was good talking to everybody tonight. They didn't make any more after.
Well, there's now the one with Busta Rhymes.
Oh, that's right.
Halloween Resurrection.
Camera boy. And I love there was that scene where it gets knocked backward, like it's upside down, but the footage, like, I don't know. Dude.
My God. So Michael Myers comes back. Now Jamie Lee Curtis is in a mental institution because of course she is. She's got a teddy bear she's putting the pills in.
Yep. So
she's not taking her meds and she's waiting for Halloween night.
They were like, we need you to come back for another film. She's like, I'm not doing it. I told you I'm not doing anything. All you have to do is lay there. Like, you're going to be drugged. Just kind of lay there for a while.
Come on. Doesn't Mama need meds?
Maybe hide some stuff into a teddy bear, but you don't have to do much for a while.
Right. Fine. So Michael Myers shows back up, and the idea is one of the paramedics that got there first, Michael Myers crushed his larynx, put his mask and clothes on him.
A lot of work.
Oh, yeah. And
like, have you ever undressed yourself, undressed another man, and then switched clothes?
Last week.
How long did that take? Did you time yourself?
45 seconds, man. Michael Myers has got this shit. He's wearing a jumpsuit.
Good God.
I don't know. No, of course I've never done that.
Then you gotta stuff somebody into a jumpsuit. It's not like
you also have to break the larynx, okay? You need to make sure that this person is still somewhat mobile to make sure that Laurie Strode, can kill him. Acting in a spastic Michael Myers way, but also cannot call for help.
Right.
So much has to go against this person and for you for this to work.
Right. And for some reason, in this spastic movement, it looks like he's constantly trying to kill her.
Right.
Not just turn around and run away when you see she's brandishing weapons.
And furthermore, this is still in the same continuity that he blew up in number 2, which means 3rd-degree burn scars all over his body. Don't you think somebody's going to realize that when they see the paramedic? It's going to be like, I don't remember burn face.
Yeah, his partner gets in the car. He's like, all right, where do you want to go for dinner? Jesus, fuck happened?
Jesus Christ!
I was gone for 2 seconds. The shit.
And here's another problem that I have is they rebooted the franchise with H2O after Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Which means Ben Tramer's still dead.
He's not coming back, man.
He's not coming back.
And I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm sure he's not in the reboot. In the newest one.
Which reboots it again.
Man.
After number 1. So number 2 never happened.
I bet you would have been happy to hear Ben Tramer's name.
Dude, I would have come unassisted, okay? I would have been there in the movie theater, which by the way was packed. And everybody's like, oh, this is amazing. All right, Officer Ben Tramer, Oh God, that's 20 years of repression right there. I would have gotten air. Okay.
That's amazing.
I will give you the spoiler. No, there's no Ben Tramer. I didn't stay to watch the credits. Maybe there was somebody just like in number 4 that's supposed to be Ben. I know! That was like the one thing wrong with that movie. But, alright, so we got H2O. She decapitates a ambulance paramedic guy. Now Michael's coming back after her.
Mm-hmm.
He chases her up to the roof.
Yep.
She springs a trap on him. Now he's hanging upside down, and he's acting much the same as he did in H2O when she killed the wrong person.
Right.
So she uses the line, I just have to make sure, and approaches him to take off the mask.
Right.
Here's the problem with your fucking logic. Even if that's not Michael Myers, he's trying to kill you. He was just trying to stab you. I don't care if that's Michael Myers. Kill the motherfucker, then check.
Yeah, right?
Even if it's not Michael, you just got rid of one killer.
Let me just check real quick.
That's exactly it.
Keep going.
That's exactly it.
You're not Michael. I'm good with this.
So, where's your fucking head?
Dude.
Apparently, this movie also introduces magic because the girl's scream could shatter glass, which I guess makes Busta Rhymes have an orgasm.
Isn't that what Mariah Carey can do that? I think, right? Can't she shatter glass with hitting that high note or some shit?
I don't know, but it would make sense. I've been seeing comments flying here, guys. If you know if Mariah Carey can shatter glass, or if you can Wikipedia that shit for us, we would love you for it.
The only reason we're doing this show is to find this out.
Exactly. All of this talk, all of this Ben Tramer talk and everything like that, it all cycles around, can Mariah Carey's voice break glass? That's what it's about, ultimately.
Once I find the answer, we're shutting down everything. No more YouTube channel, no more podcasts. We've got an answer. Done.
Nerdynomicon's over. History Creeps is now history because now we know it all.
Exactly.
We're lying to you.
Busta Rhymes.
I thought that was going to be a comment. I didn't say it. No.
So Busta Rhymes.
Yes, he's there.
Woo-ha.
Yeah.
Got us all in check.
How exactly did a franchise go from The Blackest Eyes, The Devil's Eyes to Trick or Treat Motherfucker?
Like, yeah, no kidding, man. I don't know, dude. What's up?
Yes.
Yes.
I think I just saw yes. I think somebody just looked that up and gave us a yes.
We're done.
All right. That's it. See you guys. I'm joking.
Amazing.
We still have a couple more movies to talk about.
All right.
You can shut down. He's right about Mariah. Yep. It was the ogre. Ogre's in the house.
So
yeah, that happened.
Busta.
And just like Blumhouse likes to do to us now, the killer comes back for one final scare at the end.
Yeah.
Because you can blow him up, you can burn him, you can shoot him. He can fall into a giant pool and then go into a river and be tended to by a drifter who molested him for a year.
At least, dude.
And he's still going to wake up in the morgue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened. And then there were no more sequels. But there was another reboot. By Rob Zombie.
Oh, that's right.
We got the two. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these.
Yeah.
But we got the Rob Zombie movies, which I was excited for because I like Rob Zombie as a director.
The Rob Zombie treatment, if you will.
Yes.
70s grime look to it.
With hillbillies, every other word out of their mouth is fuck. Yep. And don't get me wrong, that's what life's all about.
90s MTV music video with the interspersed music things and transition imagery.
Freebird has to be there.
Yep.
There's his mother on a white horse, because that made sense, although I think that was in the sequel.
Yeah, that was in the sequel, but still. Yeah.
It was interesting, but at the same time, I didn't really want a Michael Myers backstory.
No.
I liked it better when he was a silent kid after the killing took place.
Right. I didn't have to see that he had a shit upbringing. I like the fact that it seemed like he had a great family.
Yeah.
A nice
middle America,
family.
Suburbia, and that's what can go wrong.
That's the scariest
The desecration and the death of innocence.
The snap.
I don't need to wonder if his stepdad is molesting his sister and or him.
No.
I don't need to see Michael Myers mutilating little animals or killing other kids.
No.
I don't need that. It's scarier when he snaps.
Yeah.
Now, if you take these movies for what they are, the birth and evolution of a psychopath, that's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Just don't call him Michael Myers. Make it something completely different.
Right.
Like, that's a cool movie.
Now, it's kind of the similar feeling that I had with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Okay. I thought it was a brilliant concept. I love it. I still love it. I would have loved it even more if it was not Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean? Just because Freddy Krueger is so iconic to me. He was like my slasher growing up. I've since come around.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like I'm throwing shade at New Nightmare.
Yeah.
But I kind of would have liked it better if it wasn't Freddy. You know what I mean? Just like I would have liked these movies better if it wasn't Michael Myers.
I just didn't like the version of Freddy. I liked the idea of
what they were
doing.
Sinuous bone claws.
That and just like,
Trench coat was cool.
He was supposed to be nasty and mean and crazy, but then he got silly again. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was a lot of stuff that went wrong with it. But you got a lot of flavor of what was coming with Scream, being self-aware, being very meta.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and that was right around the same time. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, Scream was definitely in production when this movie dropped.
So there was a lot of flavor.
Right.
That bled over.
So we got the Rob Zombie movies. Like I said, we're not spending a whole lot of time on them.
No, they are what they are.
Unfortunately, Danny Trejo was in it and died.
Yeah.
Because I love Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody died. The girl that played Laurie reminded me a lot of this girl that worked at a bar that I was frequenting at the time. So that happened. I guess. There's really no story there. I just remember she was a buzzkill. That was like one of those anecdotes that, like, is there any more to make a story straight? Not really. I think her name was Rebecca, but I'm probably lying to you.
Her name was Lola.
She was a showgirl. Okay? So those happened. And I believe that is the last Halloween we got until this most recent movie.
Yeah.
Which reboots the series yet again. And by the way, Ben Tramer's not in the Rob Zombie movies either.
Can you imagine though? You would have loved them then. Then you would have been like, I'm in.
I am a zombie apologist. Yeah, because Rob Zombie messed up the franchise. Don't you remember number 4?
Yeah.
When Ben Tramer is still not around? No memorial erected for him.
Yeah. I've not seen the new one. I know you have.
I have. Spoiler-free review on it. Very spoiler-free.
Do it up.
This movie is powerful. This is a direct sequel to number 1. So number 2 never happened, so Ben Tramer could still be alive.
Right. The thing I read was that this is written by Danny McBride and Evan Goldberg.
If memory serves, yes.
And these two guys loved the film, the first. Were not as crazy about the rest and always thought it should have been different. And I think what they did is they said, what would we have done if we wrote the second one? And when that got to Carpenter, he was like, I will do this.
Mm-hmm. So we've seen Laurie Strode in the aftermath of what happened to her in many different forms.
Yeah.
We've seen her die unceremoniously.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen her fake her death.
Yep.
We've seen her, in my head, fake her death, leaving behind a child.
A love
child.
Bastard love child.
Who one day is going to walk up and see her at a Ralph's and go, Mommy, and then go on a killing spree, killing large people, I guess. We've also seen her fucked up beyond reproach in the zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see survivalist Laurie Strode, which is evidenced by the trailers when you're seeing her shooting at all the dummies and everything. So you've definitely seen the different shades of what a homicidal killer in one specific night can do to you.
Okay.
Another thing that really touched me about this movie is it begins and centers around podcasters, which is exactly what we are. I'm not joking.
Fuck out.
I'm not joking. It begins and centers around podcasters.
See,
it evolves from there.
Dude, that's cool.
It evolves from there, but it begins with a podcaster. It begins with a microphone. This movie works. Nice. It is a movie that I will guarantee you is going to get a sinful analysis on it. The only real things that I see wrong with it is I am a little bit of a continuity junkie. Okay. That is why, in my head, I always try to bridge the gaps in the Nightmare on Elm Street series, despite the fact that there's plot holes all over the place.
Right.
That's why I came up with the idea in my head that Jamie Lloyd is the bastard love child between her and Ben Tramer, and she faked her death leaving behind that child because she thought that ultimately it would be safer for her, moved on, had Josh Hartnett, because I like the continuity of those movies. I want to watch them as a cohesive story.
So what annoys you is that Ben Tramer's not in this one.
That is exactly what annoys me. Ben Tramer's not in this one. There's no bastard love child. that we
Give me
know
a
of.
second. I'm gonna text Danny McBride.
Fucking ain't right, man. Justice for Ben.
Fucker.
Hashtag justice for Tramer. So that is really, if I'm being serious, that is the only thing that's wrong. That's the fact that it's once again called Halloween. There's no sub name.
I
There's
like
no
that
sequel.
a lot.
You like that?
I did.
You like the fact that it's just Halloween.
Yes.
Despite the fact that it's a continuation of Halloween 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's still
that's
Halloween.
fine.
This is that movie.
Yeah.
This is the tale of Halloween. It's not about the curse of, or the return of, or resurrection. This is Halloween. This is what you guys know from the first, continued. Pretend there's no stop, and like put it all together and watch it all at once, and that this little break in between is just that, hey, 30 years, what is it, 30 years, 35 years later, what is it,
give or take? Yeah.
She
has a daughter, her daughter has a daughter.
Oh, that's right, she's Granny.
Yep, she's grandma now,
Granny Laurie. And
I've got to say, Jamie Lee Curtis's acting is on point in this movie. Good. Judy Greer, whose name I'm actually going to remember from now on because of this movie, despite the fact that I love Judy Greer. I love her in everything I've ever seen her in. You may be having a hard time putting a face to that name, but I can guarantee you've seen her in at least 20 to 30 things. Have you seen Arrested Development?
Yeah.
She's in Arrested Development. She's the secretary. Did you see Cursed?
Yes. I know who you're talking about. Yep. Okay, yeah.
She was one of the werewolves in Cursed.
Wait, she's the secretary that kept trying to show her breasts all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Spring Break. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Judy Greer.
Right, yeah.
She's in everything. You know what I mean? And she is a vision in this movie.
Who does she play? The daughter?
She plays her daughter. She plays Laurie Strode's daughter.
Very cool.
And she does amazing at it.
Very nice.
She's phenomenal in this role. There's very little I can say specifically about this movie to call it out without giving spoilers, but I will say the body count is high. The unsettlingness, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, despite the fact that it's horrible English, is dialed up to 11. They studied the original Halloween. It's very obvious that they studied it because they shot it nouveau, but homage style. The style where Michael Myers is in the background is there. And the not necessarily standing there and now he's disappeared, that's gone. Now when you're seeing Michael Myers, you're seeing him standing in the window, you hear the theme music.
Yeah.
Then the camera tracks him. You see him turn and walk. You don't see him disappearing and then reappearing like a ghost later. You see him make deliberate moves to slaughter.
I like that, dude.
There are
He's like the shark circling the prey, dude.
Yes.
Very nice.
Did you have to quote Busta Rhymes in that? Michael Myers, you kill a shark in baggy ass fucking overalls. It all comes back to fucking Busta Rhymes, doesn't it?
Amazing.
But this movie is incredible. I mean, if you have not seen it, it is the movie to see on Halloween if you get the chance, or the day before Halloween. This is a movie that should be seen and re-seen next year. It's powerful. It's feminist. It's well acted. It's well written. It's one of the best horror movies I've seen in quite some time because not only is it frightening and unsettling, but it also gives you a good story with good acting, with good resolution. It's a well-made film. It fires on all cylinders. Nice. Everything that I could say about It Follows, and I have said about It Follows, also applies to this movie with the exception of the budget. Because the budget was obviously much higher with this movie.
Very nice.
And there's a reason why it's the #1 film in America right now. It deserves it hand over fist. If I were you, I would make it a double feature.
For the weekend, I'm going to see it.
I would make this a double feature while you still can, because I really feel that it should be seen in theaters. Also, try to see Hellfest. Oh. It's not a great movie, but God damn it, it's a fun movie.
I was going to say, does it feed that need for that kind of...
Yes!
Because
it absolutely does.
We don't have those films anymore.
No, we don't. And I can tell you this much right now, with the popularity and the income that this Halloween is making, you are going to see the resurgence of the rebooted slashers. You're going to see them. And if they follow...
I heard they were doing Nightmare again.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've been hearing that since probably a year after they did it.
Redo it again, yeah.
Which is good, because they had a lot of missteps. They had a lot of win, but they had a lot of missteps. Talk to me. I can tell you where those missteps are. They should also remake Jason movies. They already are remaking Child's Play, but if what I've heard about the synopsis, if what I heard about the synopsis is real, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Uh-oh.
It's a hacked doll. It's not a possessed doll.
Hacked?
Yes,
That's
it was
nonsense.
hacked. It was hacked by like an angry Chinese employee.
Why they gotta be dumb, dude? Just do it the right way, man.
Exactly. Infest the doll with the disembodied soul of Charles LeRae, like you do, okay? And have him go on a killing spree. But no, apparently it's hacked. But it has Aubrey Plaza.
We'll see.
I'll see it for Aubrey.
We'll see.
Maybe Ben Tramer will make a fucking appearance in that one. They can just tie everything together. But I honestly feel like the slasher movies are going to come back, which means this is what I really hope that they do. And I've been getting a lot of comments on YouTube, and this is one more thing I just want to touch on briefly, because I really want to actually have you on the podcast and sit down and actually map out how we should do this. I think you and I should write a spec together for Scream 5. Because Scream 4 already rebooted the franchise to send up the reboots. I'm telling you right now, we're about to live in another world of reboots, and you and I know the rules that are going to be broken.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think they're already looking to do that?
For Scream 5?
Yeah.
The latest that I have heard, because I've been in depth on this, and I do have a couple of friends that work in studios out there, there has been talks of this. Talks have ground to a complete halt. They're like the wheels and the axles are, flat and getting rusted after the death of Wes Craven. As a matter of fact,
obviously, yeah.
As a matter of fact, Nev Campbell has said that it's highly unlikely there will ever be another Scream without Wes Craven, which I understand.
Well, at least with that cast, you can't say, unless they're going to decide to reboot it. If you reboot and start fresh, then you start with a whole new director. You get somebody fresh, somebody new.
Here's what I'm saying. That's exactly what you do. But you have the old cast as cameos. For instance, if you're going to have a reboot like this, everybody is a suspect. Obviously, you don't have it take place in the exact same town. You have it take place in a town with the exact same name on the other side of the country. And because the killer is anybody, Sidney Prescott goes into police custody from across the country. You have these characters as cameos, not characters. Trademark Nerdynomicon.
That's our idea.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for Scream. I fucking love it. That's one of the comments we just got.
We're gonna get it, dude. We'll work on this because I like the idea of.
I want to have you on the podcast, and I want you and I to work on a script. But don't worry, guys, because as of 2 days ago, 1,031 votes. #Sandpire yes.
Oh man, vampires in the sand,
biting the feet of vacationers, and then sucking them underground.
This is going to be an interesting film.
#. Oh, we got a yay. We got a yay.
Vamp sand. Sandpires.
Sandpires. So I would say the next step is to contact Elisa Hansen, seeing as though she is she's not only a friend, but she's also a vampire guru. And we're going to find out the method to our madness on how our vampires are different. And then we're going to sit down and write the movie. It's going to have a sweater party.
This is going to be amazing.
The script is going to be written. It's going to be a collaborative effort. It's mostly going to be written by Adrian and myself, but I want there to be influences and tones and pieces of humor from all of the gremlins, all of our cousins and podcasting and stuff like that.
Very nice.
And by that, I also mean I want some input and help from you. You're one of the biggest horror junkies I know. So we're going to have a collaborative effort here.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be so much fun.
It's
going to be horror comedy in a way.
Who are we doing this for? Who's this for?
This is for the masses, dude.
For the people?
When we write this
script, do they deserve such awesomeness?
If they're awesome enough for a tiny, minuscule, bullshit little internet television show like Nerdynomicon.
Well, I guess you're right. They definitely deserve it.
These people came out.
Let's do it, man.
I've gotten emails saying that this one guy actually went on the bus pitching the idea and got me 50 votes.
We're doing this. We're doing it.
With that kind of fucking dedication, The script is getting written. A Kickstarter will happen. We will find financiers if need be. This may not be a movie that comes out in a year. It won't be a movie that comes out in a year. Because if we're going to do this movie is going to be done right. It's not going to be some bullshit movie that just, we'll throw it together and throw it up online. Because a lot of YouTubers have done that. A lot of people have done that.
I'll tell you right now.
I don't want to do that.
Halloween was an indie film.
Yes, it was.
An indie film. And the return on that, come on.
Astronomical.
There's never say never, man. Do it.
Couldn't agree more. Hell, look at Paranormal Activity.
Sandpires.
Hashtag Sandpire, yes. It's a fucking thing.
2, 3, 4 years from now, 4 years from now, people will say, look at Sandpires. We should write our own movie.
That not only will be our foot, it'll be our spec. And from there,
Very
Scream
nice.
5 will come.
Gorgeous.
But here's the thing. We need to work on this quickly, and we need to start things going because I'm telling you right now, over the next 5 years, the slashers will be rebooted. And somebody will get screwed.
All the paranormal is going to start dying out because that's what everything is right now.
All of horror will go in cycles.
Yeah.
I mean, found footage is going to come back again in 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
Just like torture porn will. They already tried way too soon to reboot it with Jigsaw.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but you guys still have like another 10 years.
Yeah,
if you love torture porn, just hang out for decades.
It's coming.
It'll come back.
It's coming.
But now's the time for the slashers. Now it's time to get our remake of Sleepaway Camp. To get a new version of Jason Voorhees. Now we're going to get Freddy back again. As a matter of fact, Robert Englund recently, after he worked on that episode of The Goldbergs, said that he will come back for one more Nightmare on Elm Street as Freddy Krueger.
That's if you're going to do that though, it can't be rebooted. Then it has to be part of the continuity.
Agreed.
And
then he also said,
weird, dude, for him to be a reboot, unless you do reboot it in a way where it's this idea that he continues no matter what. There's this evolution of the evil, and maybe we see the evilness go into something else. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Interesting.
But we've been talking to you guys for an hour and almost 12 minutes.
Sweet.
We started with Halloween in 1978. We're all the way to 2018. We've talked some Scream. We've talked some Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play,
Friday the 13th,
Sleepaway Camp.
It. I don't think we talked about it.
No, I think we did that off camera. And hashtag Sandpowers, yes, it happened. We did it. With 2 more days to spare, man, we did this. Hashtag Sandpower, yes.
Yes, man.
So I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you guys are mashing that like button. Make sure you guys are sharing this around. Let all of your friends that you talk to know Sandpowers is happening, man.
Hell yeah.
You can't stop it, even if you wanted to. It's happening now. You guys have already, you let the genie out the bottle.
Show them your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
They want to see the shirt. See that? Look at that beauty.
It's the Horror Puff Boys, man. We got Michael Myers. We got Freddy. We got Jason over here.
Jason Voorhees.
Show him your shirt.
Friday the 13th. Punisher stop. Punish the campers.
Fucking A right, man. We came prepared for you guys.
Yes, sir.
So that's going to take us out of here. Like I said, mash that like button. Tell them one more time. Where can they find you? Because you're awesome.
Yeah, check out the network, bicbp-radio.com. There's all kinds of podcasts on there, retro video games, NFL, comic books, pop culture, all kinds of stuff on there. Check it out. My podcast is History Creeps Podcast. That's about it for me. Don't forget, remember Ben Tramer. Never forget.
Hashtag justice for Ben Tramer, man. And you guys already know where to find me. All that information is down below. We got 2 days left. 2 days left. So review of Night of the Demons is coming up tomorrow. One of my all-time favorite movies. I think you watched that for the first time last year.
Oh yeah, it's quite a film.
I got the collector's edition this year. And
that's amazing.
Sinful Analysis of Trick or Treat. That'll be out on Halloween itself.
Such a good film.
I love it.
All right, guys.
But that's out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you later.